Hello again, everybody. I hope you're all well and that you had nice holidays. But the holidays are over and it is back to school. Well, it isn't really. As you all know, we still can't go to school. We have to do our homework and we have to work for school from home. But these were strange holidays anyway, because of all the rules that we had to obey. I was very interested to read what you wrote about the rules of Corona and the jobs that some of you had to do around the house. So let's take a look at that. So here they are, the rules of Corona, what we had to do and what we didn't have to do. This is what some of you wrote. We must stay at home. We must keep a distance to people. We must wash our hands very often. We needn't go to school. Now, some of you might still think that's a good thing. That's why somebody wrote, we needn't go to school. Victoria wrote, I needn't learn for tests. Of course, if there's no school, there are no tests. So Victoria needn't learn for tests. Some parents needn't drive to work. And when you're in your home office, you don't have to drive your car to work. That means there's less traffic on the road. So that's a good thing. You wrote about this in the simple present, using must and needn't. But the holidays are over now, so we talk about them in the simple past. We say, we had to stay at home. We had to keep a distance to people. We had to wash our hands very often, and we didn't have to go to school. Victoria didn't have to learn for tests, and some parents didn't have to drive to work. Now, in the simple past, instead of must, we use had to. Instead of needn't, we use didn't have to. So this is what we weren't able or weren't allowed to do. Some of you wrote, we can't go to the swimming pool. We can't go to the hairdressers. Tom wrote, I can't go to the cinema. We mustn't meet 3 or more people. And we mustn't have a party. Well, of course, it wouldn't be a party with just 3 people. So if you mustn't meet 3 or more people, you mustn't have a party. Gideon wrote, I mustn't visit my grandparents. Maybe he wanted to, but he wrote, I mustn't visit them. So again, you wrote about this in the simple present using can't and mustn't, but with the holidays over, we should talk about them in the simple past. We say, we weren't able to go to the swimming pool. We weren't able to go to the hairdressers. Tom wasn't able to go to the cinema. We weren't allowed to meet 3 or more people, and that's why we weren't allowed to have parties. Gideon wasn't allowed to visit his grandparents. So in the simple past, instead of using can't, we use wasn't or weren't able to. Wasn't for singular, weren't for plural. Instead of using mustn't, we use wasn't or weren't allowed to. Wasn't for singular, weren't for plural. Now I know that some of you have been helpful around the house. Let's take a look at the jobs and some of the things that you had to do or didn't have to do. For example, Eric wrote, I must help in the garden. Emma wrote, I needn't clean the house. Janina wrote, I must feed our 2 guinea pigs. Josiane said, I must look after my little brother. And Joshua said, I needn't cook a meal. So when we talk about the holidays again, they are over, let's use the simple past. We can say, Eric had to help in the garden. Emma didn't have to clean the house. Janina had to feed their 2 guinea pigs. Josiane had to look after her little brother, and Joshua didn't have to cook a meal. Now that you know how to use the modal auxiliaries in the simple past, you can do the exercise on page 44 in your workbook. This is exercise 8, and it's all about rules and jobs too. Here, Lewis writes a letter to Chloe about his last school where there were lots of rules. And here is somebody that you know. He had to clean the bookshelves yesterday. You can't see him for all the dust on his face, but I'm sure you know who this is. And next time we will talk about the future, because there are some new rules now, and we will have a look at what we will have to do next, but also at some of the things that we will be allowed to do again and that we will be able to do again. So look forward to that. See you in the next video. Until then, stay healthy. Bye-bye.